This is daily vlog number 193. One of the harder things for me to do as a pastor is to stay inspired. At times with the stresses of being the pastor, it can get a little overwhelming, particularly when everybody seems to be having a terrible, terrible time in their life. So one of the things I like to do to stay inspired is to go and read some of the things from people I admire greatly. C.S. Lewis has been a great inspiration for me. In fact, I don't think there's much I'll say as a pastor that C.S. Lewis hasn't already said. Now, you may know him from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and all the Chronicles of Narnia stuff. Or you may know him from his hit bestseller, Mere Christianity. But C.S. Lewis was a prolific writer, and several of his books have had a huge impact on me. So what I thought I would do for you today is to share with you a few of my favorite C.S. Lewis quotes. One quote that I'm using in my sermon tomorrow is this: "There are far, far better things ahead of us than any we leave behind." I love that quote because it reminds me that nothing that we leave behind in following Jesus could ever compare to the glories and gifts that he gives us now and in the age to come. From his book, God in the Dock, he writes, "I didn't go to religion to make me happy. I always knew a bottle of port would do that. If you're looking for a religion to make you feel very comfortable, then I certainly don't recommend Christianity." In his letters to Malcolm, he wrote, "It is so much easier to pray for a bore than to go and see one." These last two are a little bit long, but they're worth hearing. From his book, The Four Loves, he writes, "To love is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, and airless, it will change. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. To love is to be vulnerable." From his book, Mere Christianity, he writes, "If anyone thinks Christians regard unchastity as the supreme vice, they are quite wrong. The sins of the flesh are bad, but they are the least bad of all sins. All the worst pleasures are purely spiritual. The pleasure of putting other people in the wrong, of bossing and patronizing and spoiling sport and backstabbing. The pleasures of power, of hatred. For there are two things inside me competing with the human self, which I must try to become. They are the animal self and the diabolical self. The diabolical self is the worst of the two. That is why a cold, self-righteous prig who goes regularly to church may be far nearer to hell than a prostitute. But of course, it's better to be neither." If you haven't read any of his works, I highly recommend Mere Christianity, or The Problem of Pain, or the Chronicles of Narnia, just to start. So tell me, what authors inspire you, and what are some of your favorite things they've ever written? Let me know in the comments below. This is daily vlog number 193. 172 to go. I'll talk to you tomorrow.